Hello, everyone, and welcome to Argano Interrel's biweekly webcast. My name is Opal, and I'm your presenter. Today, our session is called You've Just Acquired the Entire Oracle EPM Cloud Suite. Now what? I'm very excited to present on this topic, and one of the areas we'll mention briefly, strategic assessments, is a great service offering that Argano Interrel provides to help you determine your own Oracle EPM Cloud path. We will have a customer speaking on their experience with this offering in the next webcast next week on May 26th. So this webcast and the next webcast actually tie into each other pretty well. Our usual disclaimers, I won't read them all. However, I did want to point out the traditional Oracle Safe Harbor part of the slide. I'm going to present the best information of what I understand of the current Oracle Cloud and on-prem worlds today, but note that it will all potentially change, and it has since Oracle Cloud was born. So my name is Opal Alapat, and I'm a practice director at Argano Interrel. I'm also an Oracle ACE director within the EPM space and the author slash co-author of our 3 books on Oracle Cloud. We're going to be covering a lot of information today, so I'm going to ask that you hold questions until the end, and don't worry, we should have time for Q&A. If after this session you have additional questions, feel free to send them to info@interrel.com. You can also find good information on my blog, which is listed here at the bottom. And most of those posts are on Oracle EPM Cloud, which is my favorite topic. For those of you who haven't seen the PSA yet, Interrel was rebranded in early May to Argano Interrel. We have joined forces with multiple world-class firms to create a company called Argano, which is a next-generation business and technology services provider that architects and builds intelligent digital operating platforms that help businesses run better. But at our core, Argano Interrel is the same. We focus on Oracle EPM and analytics solutions, and we are proud to be a 5-time Oracle Partner of the Year award winner in this space. So let's get started. First, let's talk about why Oracle EPM Cloud is a fantastic choice for your organization. So welcome to the current view of Oracle EPM Cloud. This slide, which is borrowed from Oracle, highlights Oracle's vision of EPM Cloud. Highlighted in the green, you can see how Oracle EPM Cloud plays into the Oracle world. EPM provides a layer that speaks to the full breadth of enterprise performance management. These product solutions can cascade throughout the organization to assist many areas of the enterprise, resulting in both collaborative and self-service benefits. It is the next generation of Hyperion, which is built on cloud. EPM Cloud is connected, integrated, and agile, offering a modern architecture and feature set, and it will improve EPM business practices at organizations. If you think about it, you're leveraging 20 plus years of innovation for all aspects of your enterprise performance management needs. I remember using Hyperion Planning 1.0 back in the year 2000, which totally dates me, and we've come a long way since then. This is a full EPM solution stack that can handle not only your current needs, but wherever the future takes you. But why is this platform important in today's age? With EPM Cloud, Oracle allows you to future proof your business. Oracle is very transparent with their product roadmaps. And just a quick shout out to Cloud Customer Connect. You should definitely go join that platform where they advertise the webcasts for all of their different roadmap presentations. They're constantly adding in new features, and the software and hardware is regularly maintained and scalable. In addition, they're making investments in leading edge technologies like machine learning and artificial intelligence. And this is good news for companies along for the ride for years out. This new cloud platform has been doing well. This year, we celebrated the 7-year anniversary of Planning Cloud, which was the first product released in the stack, and it was originally called PBCS. Earlier this year, Oracle announced that they have over 5,200 customers overall on EPM Cloud, and cloud revenue has overtaken on-prem revenue. A quick segue on licensing, because this is going to be important to determining what your organization has purchased and can use. There are multiple tiers of EPM Cloud, so it's important to understand which one your company owns and which solutions it can provide to you. The 2 tiers are standard and enterprise. This slide shows the standard one. This is the functionality that could exist within your standard licensing tier, depending on which business process you purchased with it. Standard can provide you options for planning, reporting, account reconciliation, and financial consolidation and close. But note that you can only have one solution for its purchase price. Any additional solutions will come at a nominal monthly fee each. That's a big difference between this and enterprise. I'm assuming most of you on this webcast are here because you're on enterprise licensing. Enterprise licensing adds on to standard by opening up the entire EPM Cloud solution suite, as well as provides additional functionality to some of the products within the standard licensing tier. With enterprise, you can extend the functionality of EPM to all areas and make the most of your EPM investment. One note that I would like to make here is in the past, Oracle has allowed customers to have as many pods as they wanted in enterprise licensing. That was their messaging. This is starting to come to a close. So you'll want to watch the product overviews carefully, which we'll go into next, and prioritize the solutions that you want to implement, as well as make sure you have enough pods to support your future. The enterprise licensing tier has been a game changer. For the price of what used to be a single EPM Cloud product back when this was first released, you can now take advantage of all that the EPM Cloud suite has to offer. In addition, the cloud licensing prices today can often be cheaper than what used to exist on prem and even the original licensing that existed in cloud when it was first rolled out. And believe it or not, this has really changed the way that even we do consulting. When customers are on the enterprise tier, we take into consideration all products when we architect and design applications. We assist customers in extending their EPM footprint to solutions they may have never used before and take advantage of all the suite has to offer. In addition, we haven't touched on this yet, but EPM Cloud is also a game changer just with the advances in its technology. Hybrid, for instance. FCC applications and some planning applications now default to hybrid mode. This was never formally supported before in HFM, as it didn't exist there, nor Hyperion planning on prem. A handful of our customers have switched their planning applications to hybrid and are seeing tremendous performance gains today. Also, artificial intelligence has made its way into some small areas of EPM Cloud, but more is coming. Imagine a world where your EPM solution is doing the manual tasks for you and responding to data queries via voice commands. This is pretty exciting stuff, which is why we consider this a game changer. So now let's get to the heart of this webcast. Your company bought EPM Cloud, and especially the enterprise tier of EPM Cloud. That's a lot of solutions. Now what? In the simplest high level terms that we can cover in a 1 hour webcast, there are 3 steps to answer your now what question. Step 1, educate yourself on what all the solutions do, which is going to be the longest part of this webcast. Step 2, strategize which solutions you need, how they integrate, and how to prioritize them. Then create a roadmap for how you're going to do this. Step 3, commit to a path and present it for approval so you can get started. I will tell you right now that many of our customers that have decided to go to cloud were smart enough to understand that this can be a multi-year journey. Much of that will depend on how many solutions you wish to implement, your budget for implementation, and your company's resources, schedules, and even culture to a certain extent. So, step number 1, what are all of these products? How do they solve business problems? And as we walk through them, think about what business problems you need to solve and which ones are the biggest problems. Note that we will have this replay available on our YouTube channel as well as our website, so you don't have to frantically take notes as the replay will be available to you. So let's do a deep dive of each EPM Cloud solution, as well as other Oracle solutions that may no longer be in the EPM suite, but you might be curious about. Planning is the heart of EPM Cloud Suite. It was the first EPM Cloud product released back in 2014, and it's been the fastest selling Oracle Cloud product to date. Planning is a centralized, web-based planning, budgeting, and forecasting solution that drives collaborative, integrated, and event-based planning processes throughout the enterprise. This solution was designed to address a wide range of financial and operational planning requirements. Some of the key features include approvals and process management, flexible modeling, powerful reporting and analysis, robust data integration, flexible calculations, and tight security. This solution is best used for the planning and forecasting cycles at your enterprise. And one of the tools can specifically address high-level strategic modeling and long-range planning. And if we're used to the on-prem Hyperion planning world and wondering how Planning Cloud is different, here's a slide that gives you a high-level list of features only found in cloud. And some of the callouts, things like valid intersections, which is where you determine what are the valid intersections of dimensions that people should input data to keep them from fat fingering data into intersections that don't make any sense. Groovy coding. Groovy is an international standard coding language that allows folks to take their applications to the next level by coding around some of the limitations of the existing applications and tools. In addition, hybrid. As we mentioned, it's the next generation of hybrid. And there have been a lot of performance gains. There have been customers who never considered hybrid that have moved to hybrid because this is new technology with a new architecture and some very pleasant performance gains. Planning actually comes in 3 application type flavors in cloud: custom, freeform, and modules. But not all 3 flavors are available in both EPM Cloud licensing tiers. The standard EPM Cloud licensing tier comes with custom and modules planning. The enterprise EPM Cloud licensing tier comes with all 3 flavors. And each of these 3 flavors of planning has a purpose and right fit. Custom means to build your planning application from the ground up. Blank slate, but with the boundaries that traditional planning has always required, with the minimum set of hard coded dimensions. In addition, this is pure planning now in cloud. And that statement applies to all 3 flavors of planning application types. What that means is there are no longer any ties to Essbase, meaning you don't have access to the EAS console, direct access to your Essbase cube, an Essbase Smart View connection, nor any Essbase objects. But as mentioned in previous slides, this is a give and take. There have been huge numbers of improvements to planning since it moved to cloud. Freeform is being called Essbase SaaS. It's a replacement option for standalone Essbase, which are Essbase cubes that are independent of the planning product, often used for reporting. I will talk more about why this is the case when we get to the Essbase section. Freeform planning is pure planning, but without the traditional shackles of planning. You can build this from the ground up, and usual dimensions required in planning are not required here. You can build what you want. Freeform offers a licensing consolidation path for customers, so you don't have to have separate Essbase and EPM Cloud licenses. You can have both Essbase-like cubes and EPM Cloud all on a single platform. Modules, which is the third application planning type, is the cloud replacement option for on-prem Hyperion planning modules. These are pre-built but configurable templates for standard types of planning and forecasting. The modules type of planning application includes pre-built frameworks that customers can leverage to save time. These frameworks include financials, workforce, capital planning, project planning, and strategic modeling. So this is not exactly the same list as what existed in on-prem Hyperion planning. But also note that strategic modeling is the cloud iteration of the previous Hyperion strategic finance tool on-prem, which has been fully deprecated, by the way. It does not exist in EPM 11.2 for anyone who is considering moving to on-prem instead of cloud. So EPM Cloud is your only option if you wish to use that product. Also, while workforce and capital sound similar to what existed on-prem, they are the next incarnation. So you will not be able to directly upgrade or migrate your on-prem Hyperion planning modules to the cloud version. It's a rebuild. As mentioned before, modules include pre-built content, forms, business rules, smart lists, valid intersections, dashboards, data maps, and many other features. We have a number of customers using modules as they function well out of the box. They were built on 20 plus years of innovation, and they have built-in integration between the modules. This is definitely a path to consider if you have standard revenue and expense planning, standard workforce planning, or other types of modules that might fit well within these molds. Next up, let's talk reporting. When cloud launched, one of the first products was a new reporting tool. This is a suite of reporting solutions called narrative reporting, and there are actually multiple tools that exist within this umbrella. There are 3 tools. The first one, a tool with the same name, is called narrative reporting. This focuses on the business practice of narrative reporting, and the objects that you build here are called report packages. This is for folks who want to create board packages or maybe annual financial statements that you post, to your company's website. But basically, it is a mixture of the context of text narrative plus grids and charts with your data in them. And that's how you should best use this tool. Now, this tool is a little bit of a standout from the other two tools in that it also offers workflow. So it gives you full transparency into your report development lifecycle. Management reporting is the second tool in this umbrella, and this is going to be the financial replacement reporting tool. So this creates canned, highly formatted reports like your balance sheet, income statement, cash flow. It has a central repository, much like financial reporting. It uses EPM, BI, Fusion Cloud data sources, and the objects that come out of this are called reports. And then finally, we have disclosure management, which is really a regulatory filing and statutory reporting option that supports XBRL. But I have a very important note, which is this tool has been sunset. So I'll talk about that in a second. Narrative reporting in general is best used to handle the EPM reporting needs at your organization. It can handle ad hoc with SmartView, report packages, like I mentioned, board packages with the narrative reporting tool, canned reporting with management reporting, like financial statements. And the narrative reporting suite integrates with all EPM Cloud data sources and usually in a direct manner. So it's built for EPM Cloud and it can even connect to Essbase. However, as I mentioned, the Oracle EPM team has recently announced that they are dropping disclosure management. This is a product that has a lot of competitors out there, and Oracle found it just wasn't worth their investment to continue innovating the solution. If you already have a pod that has disclosure management, meaning you have narrative reporting and enterprise EPM Cloud, just know that this will be deprecated sometime in the future. It will be supported until then. They're not going to make any enhancements, though, to this tool. If you haven't purchased Enterprise EPM Cloud yet, it's possible that you won't even see this tool appear in your pod once you initiate narrative reporting since they've deprecated it. Next up, PCM, profitability and cost management. Are you as profitable as you could be? Could you honestly answer the question, which customers and products are the most profitable? And what are the true costs to provide services or complete a business process? If you don't know the answers today, how long would it take you to find out with your current processes and systems? Enter profitability and cost management. This is the cloud iteration of the former on-prem Hyperion profitability and cost management solution. In the on-prem world, this was a very expensive tool, and it cost $25,000 per user. Now it just comes included with the enterprise tier of EPM Cloud. This is a user-driven solution that focuses on costs and creating profitability models, and it excels at allocation logic and gives full transparency into its rules. And in addition, it provides a comprehensive audit trail. Financial consolidation and close is the cloud iteration of HFM. Built upon a brand new architecture, Oracle's newest consolidation solution is now built on Essbase and leverages the planning code line used in many of the EPM cloud solutions like planning. FCC leverages a number of pre-built objects, which can be combined with custom configurations to build a consolidations and close solution that meets your particular needs. It consolidates a number of previous on-prem functionality like Supplemental Data Manager, SDM, Task Manager, and HFM to bring one solution that is richer and deeper. FCC comes with both licensing tiers of EPM Cloud, although not all features are available with the standard EPM Cloud tier. This solution is best used to consolidate your organization. It's usually used as a solution to bring together multiple ERPs so the entire enterprise can consolidate into a single solution. Formerly known as ARM or Account Reconciliation Management on-prem, now we have account reconciliation in the cloud. This product addresses the global reconciliation process, and it's recently getting a lot of attention. Account reconciliation is a very manually intensive process, which of course increases risk and effort, which is where this tool comes in. This tool reduces that manual effort and risk by providing visibility into the process, and it streamlines your reconciliation tasks. Account reconciliation comes with either the standard or enterprise licensing tier of EPM Cloud. But in the enterprise licensing tier, there's also a module called transaction matching. This allows you to integrate with transaction systems and match high volume transaction system data. Tax reporting is a comprehensive tax provisioning and reporting solution. It works globally, taking into account federal, state, and international levels. It's focused on helping you manage the tax reporting process and comes with pre-built dashboards and reports. Work lists, alerts, and notifications keep the users moving, and a central repository provides transparency and accountability for tax provision adjustments. This solution also has integration with either on-prem HFM or cloud FCC. Tax reporting only comes with the enterprise licensing tier of EPM Cloud. Now let's talk a little bit about master data and data integration. So, enterprise data management, also known as EDM, is the re architected version of DRM in the cloud. EDM allows business users and administrators to manage their master data. It does provide audit controls and accountability, as well as provides one central place to synchronize master data across multiple systems. EDM has received a lot of great updates in 2020, and it has been a game changer for EPM Cloud customers. EDM comes with the enterprise licensing tier of EPM Cloud and with a capped number of nodes, keep that in mind, but customers are welcome to purchase more. You should expect it to work with all application solutions within EPM Cloud, and it can help you centralize and manage your hierarchies in one single tool. One of the questions we often get is, so there's all these solutions, and how do you integrate the data between them? If you think about it in this big suite, the potential list of data sources is vast, and it could even include on-prem data sources as well as the cloud. So how do you handle that in Oracle EPM Cloud? Here is your array of choices. There are a number of built-in data integration tools and interfaces that can handle simple flat file types of data loads, but there's also some more savvy Oracle tools, some outside of the EPM stack, like on-prem FDME, that offer more robust data integration transformation options. Flexibility is the key, and there are options for multiple levels of complexity and skill sets, so you don't have to be scared that you have to learn a million new tools just to do data integration. Along these lines, one of the re-architected tools for EPM Cloud is called data management. Data management is a data integration tool. It's provided at no additional cost. It's considered FDME Lite on the cloud. It can directly connect to cloud and on-prem systems. It can be automated and scheduled, and it can be used by both administrators and business users. It has a host of ETL capabilities like advanced mappings, drillback, and the ability to do metadata updates. And this also has an on-prem agent that can direct connect to on-prem data sources. Data management comes with both licensing tiers of EPM Cloud, and it's actually embedded into the application instances like planning and FCC. And our beloved SmartView, which is probably no stranger to all of you on this call. EPM Cloud, of course, also integrates with Microsoft Office with a tool called SmartView, which allows users to push and pull EPM data into Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. SmartView is a common add-in for Microsoft Office, and with one single client install, it can connect to all available EPM Cloud products. Most people think of it as usable only in Excel, but the SmartView add-in works with many important Office products, including PowerPoint and Word. SmartView comes at no additional cost with both licensing tiers of EPM Cloud. SmartView supports both PC and Mac and desktop Office and Office 365, and it's planned to go into Google Docs soon. So that was a spin through EPM Cloud. I'm sure some of your heads are spinning a little bit now. But you may be asking, I am a longtime standalone Essbase customer, so why do you keep mentioning Essbase as if it's a separate tool? What happened to pure Essbase? Is that gone? Well, of course not. It's the basis of many of the EPM Cloud solutions today. But when EPM Cloud debuted, Essbase was split from that team. It joined the Oracle Analytics side. Then in 2019, Essbase split from the analytics team. So it's no longer going to be part of Oracle Analytics, but it is continuing on its own, and it's now within the database team at Oracle. Essbase has been through many iterations in its short life since it moved to cloud. First, it was part of an analytics product called OAC Essbase. OAC Essbase has been deprecated, however. If you own it today, don't panic. You can keep using it until your contract expires, but then you'll have to move to one of the newer versions. Your options today include Essbase 19C on OCI, which stands for Oracle Cloud Infrastructure. It's basically like a hosted solution. And Essbase 21C, which is available for OCI or on-prem for Linux customers. For 19C and 21C, basically what you'll do is you'll go set up an OCI server using Oracle's PaaS platform. Download Essbase from the OCI Marketplace, which is kind of like an app store for Oracle Cloud servers, and then you install it on that server. It is totally managed by you, whether you want to manage it or not. That was not always the case with past versions of Essbase. One very important note: 19C's Fusion middleware will lose support in December of this year. So if you're already on 19C this year, you're going to have to move to 21C next year. If you're considering buying standalone Essbase and not going to freeform planning in EPM Cloud, you do need to purchase 21C if you don't have it today. To be honest, I don't even think they offer any other version in the marketplace anymore. And by the way, Essbase 21C is essentially the latest and greatest incarnation of on-prem Essbase, and it's available for Linux on-prem, and it will be available for Windows soon. So speaking of that Oracle Analytics journey, what about Oracle Analytics? Many Oracle EPM Cloud customers are also analytics customers, but this is a separately licensed set of solutions. And it's important for you to know that it exists, what exists in it, and how it integrates with Oracle EPM in case you also own analytics or are looking to augment your Oracle EPM footprint. So, what does Oracle Analytics look like today? Let's do a quick summary. Oracle Analytics extends your EPM platform by providing advanced analytic capabilities for large scale data. It excels at self service business intelligence and even incorporates artificial intelligence to push the capabilities of your data sets even further. Analytics has been a highly visible technology area for at least the past decade. So, Oracle, of course, provides solutions that can even integrate with Oracle EPM Cloud. Much like Essbase, Oracle Analytics has had some facelifts since 2019. For those of you on the OBI EE stack on-prem today, you have some options if you're looking to move. Oracle Analytics is available in 3 flavors: Oracle Analytics Cloud, Oracle Analytics Server, and Oracle Fusion Analytics. Oracle Analytics Cloud moves your analytics infrastructure to the cloud, and it gives you advanced dashboards, data visualizations, and amazing analytics directly in the cloud. This is where most of the new and leading edge tech is going first for Oracle Analytics. Oracle Analytics Server allows you to deploy on-prem instead, essentially upgrading your OBIE deployment today. And note that it does not have full parity with Oracle Analytics Cloud, although it's really close. And Oracle Fusion Analytics, a newcomer to the mix, allows you to deliver real-time access to packaged business application analytics. It includes pre-built integration and data models to Oracle Fusion applications. It's built on Oracle Analytics, and it's powered by Oracle Autonomous Data Warehouse. One of the tools that comes with Oracle Analytics is data visualization. This allows users to create their own dashboards, and literally within minutes. It is very fast. I love using this tool. However, it's not just a self-service dashboarding tool. There's also data wrangling, mashup, data flows that can be saved and repeated like macros. There's even a storytelling mode. You can even download the machine learning and natural language generation features to have the system find and narrate the connections between your data. The advanced dashboarding part of Oracle Analytics, which we refer to as business intelligence or BI, is where you can really take your dashboarding capabilities to the limits with rich interactive features. Users can drill back into source systems, filter on large data sets, and control nearly every detail of their visualizations. So this is many technical steps deeper than the data visualization tool. It's made to be consumed by end users, but a more technical staff is required to build and maintain BI. And one super cool feature that was added last year is the integration of Oracle Analytics with Oracle EPM Cloud. Now, the data visualization tool can directly connect to your EPM Cloud data sources and even read and understand the hierarchies, which has been a problem in the past. This is a huge step up and a differentiator from other data visualization competitor tools that cannot directly connect to Oracle EPM and Essbase data sources. So, with all of that education, let's move on to step 2. How can you best leverage your new solution suite? Step 2 of the what now question is to strategize which solutions you need, how they integrate, and how to prioritize them. And once you have that, putting together an ROI analysis, a budget, a timeline, a resource plan, and estimated costs. What should be your path and where do you go? We have a lot of customers asking us this question. So we have a special offering called a strategic assessment where we weigh these types of questions with customers. And even before this point in your what now strategy, help them determine if cloud is even right for them. Note that everyone's path will be slightly different. One of the first places to start, if you really have no clue, is with your company's strategic focus areas. Do you have a new C-level leader who's coming in and shaking things up? Do they have a cloud first initiative, which we hear about a lot, that led you to owning the entire EPM cloud platform? Is your company finally getting around to clearing out technical backlog? It's important to align your Oracle EPM cloud journey to the priorities of your organization. This slide shows an example from one of our strategic assessment customers, what their strategic focus areas were. They prioritized integration systems, a future looking platform, agile processes, and best fit solutions. They had way too many technologies and they wanted to bring it down and boil it down to just a few. Now, this may sound very generic, but believe it or not, we've never had slides like this that repeat between customers. So, as you can imagine, this is why everybody's journey is different. If your company is not aligned, then I would suggest tackling your EPM foundation. Most customers have foundations that begin to crack as their business evolves and priorities and processes shift. This is completely normal. Perhaps you can leverage your new EPM Cloud Suite to help with those fixes and also to fill in any gaps. The pillars of a good foundation often include the following: planning, consolidations, reporting and analytics, and master data. If you don't have solutions for all of these pillars, this is a great place to start. Or maybe your solution is flawed and siloed, which we often see. If so, I suggest you start here. There will be dependencies with the rollout of some of the other EPM cloud solutions, and you will waste time and effort if you don't fix your foundation first. Once you get your foundation in place, or if you happen to have a great foundation now, then you can slowly augment your architecture. Extend consolidations by leveraging account reconciliation and tax reporting. Extend planning by leveraging profitability and cost management, or the pre-built planning modules and or strategic and scenario modeling. Extend analytics by creating more data marts and freeform planning or Essbase, building out custom dashboards and taking your EPM reporting to the next level with narrative reporting. And automate. It's surprising to me how many customers are still doing things manually. This is a quick win. Then, as you create those priorities, draw out your future architecture. Here's an example from one of our strategic assessment customers. This doesn't show the order of operations, but it does show the vision of the EPM future here. They, as we recommended, started by fixing their financial close and planning foundation, and then they expanded from there. So you can see that they have their close process. They could, in the future, augment it to ARCs and tax. They have data marts and freeform planning. They could use profitability and cost management. Once they fix their planning processes, they could even expand to the modules if they wanted to. And then overall, they have reporting at the top. They have data management at the bottom, and of course, data integration all throughout. So the entire EPM cloud platform allows you to have that full footprint. The other important note in the strategy step that's critical to understand is that you don't have to rush to cloud. Hybrid platforms, those with both on-prem and cloud solutions, do work. You can have both while you migrate, or you could have a permanent hybrid platform. Not everything will work together, but there are always workarounds. And SmartView being backwards compatible is a savior here. And one thing that they never tell you is that no Oracle EPM Cloud customer is 100% cloud. If you think about the literal translation of the word cloud, that means nothing is on your laptops or servers, and that's just not entirely true. For instance, if you're using data management, which is data integration, you might want to use the on-prem agent. And that means that you have to have a management server that's running the agent that's connecting to your on-prem data sources. So just know that pretty much every single EPM cloud solution is hybrid. So now that you've strategized, prioritized, and figured out your integrations, it's time to commit. This is sometimes the hardest part. We can't directly help you with all of the step because this involves socializing the change to cloud in your organization, finding the champions, and getting approval for your plan. So here's an example of a timeline that was sequenced based on a strategic assessment. And this is how they chose to go in order of their migration to cloud. So, of course, they started with an important ideation phase, which is where they gathered the requirements to understand exactly how the application should be designed. Of course, you see at the bottom change management, very important part of all projects of this type. And then they decided to hit their planning and their data marts first. That was very important for them with training along the way in the new cloud platforms. And then once they fixed that foundation, they could work on augmenting those data marts and those planning processes with additional training and, of course, change management, and then architectural checkpoints along the way. Now, this is a real project that finished last year, and it took, I want to say, a little over a year. Notice that they don't have a lot of necessarily consolidation happening here. It's mostly focused around reporting and planning, but this still took over a year, and it was a very good project. It ended on time and on budget. But it is really important to ensure that you have change management along the way. That's usually a failing of these types of projects. So the pillars of your commitment obviously are going to include the usual project management suspects, right? Time, money, and people. And that is why this can be the hardest and most difficult step, because you might be an administrator or a manager or vice president, listening to this webcast today, but you don't get to sign the checks, right? So you have to convince someone that it's important to do that, which is why in the strategy step, it's really important that you include a lot of different things, including what is the time impact, the cost impact, what is the ROI analysis, why should you be doing this project? And so you need to get together all of these different resources in order to fulfill your commitment. So, in closing, let's now wrap up. Your 3-step plan to answer the question, now what, is first to educate. Hopefully, this webcast has helped you in that. To strategize, which involves a lot of detailed steps to figure out what are the priorities, what is the sequence, what are the various resources, what is the timeline, and then finally to commit and get approval for your plan. It's really that simple and it's really that difficult. What I would say is if you have a good Oracle sales resource, they can help you with the ROI analysis. They have these documents in their back pocket because they've used them over and over again with multiple customers and different customers of different sizes. FedEx is one of our customers. I remember that Oracle sat with them and did a huge ROI analysis. They put together an entire PowerPoint presentation of how long it would take to break even, what the long term strategy was for ROI. And so you can really leverage your resources in that respect. And of course, if you have any questions, you can reach out to us and we'd be happy to consult with you. So, takeaways, it's a whole new world with Oracle Cloud. Oracle Cloud has market leading cloud solutions with 2 simple subscription options. It used to be a lot more complicated because it was a la carte. Now it's a lot more simple. Remember that hybrid solutions do work. And pretty much every Oracle EPM Cloud customer we know of is hybrid. So you can expand your EPM footprint. You don't have to just stick with Oracle EPM Cloud. Maybe you want to leverage pure Essbase. So you could buy an Essbase subscription. You could also move into data visualizations and dashboarding with Oracle Analytics. And just know that because we're in the cloud world now, that does mean that things are constantly evolving and constantly improving. EPM Cloud, and it's a little bit of a different frequency depending on which platform we're talking about, but EPM Cloud has the potential to change every single month. Long gone are the days where you would go 3 to 5 years without an upgrade of your Hyperion planning tool or any other Hyperion on-prem tool. We are now moving in a monthly schedule. So just know that this is a very different world. It does involve a lot of change management. It does involve training, and it does involve new tech and leading edge tech, which should excite you, hopefully. So thank you so much for joining our webcast today. As I mentioned, we have plenty of time for questions. So I'm going to go through and answer any questions that you might have. And while we're waiting for all of those, just know that we do have some upcoming webcasts. So as I mentioned, next week, we are going next week because we wanted to skip Memorial Day week because of the holiday. Just know that we have a customer case study where we did a strategic assessment and kind of how that went and what the end result was. We also, on June 2nd, have an introduction to what is Argano Interel. And then if you are an EPM Cloud customer, you might, or maybe you're just interested in what is this Groovy thing that everybody keeps talking about, note that we do have a webcast, which is an introduction to Groovy. Also note that we will be appearing at Kscope 21, which is a virtual conference this year. And if you're curious, we have a long list of sessions and presenters. We're going to cover a lot of different topics, mostly related to EPM Cloud, big surprise. That's where a lot of our work is. And so we have a good variety of topics here. And you're welcome to take a look at this list. I believe it will show up either in the chat or you can get a link. All right, so let's go to some of the questions. I know that we have a couple of questions already. Oh, and by the way, we just posted the link to all of the presentations in Kscope 21. So the first question, can we connect to Oracle EPM from Microsoft Power BI or Click? I would say the answer is no, based on what I've heard. There's not a direct connection, but there is probably a workaround indirect connection. There might even be tools that kind of work around that. But in my experience, I have heard that there is not a direct connection to Microsoft Power BI or Click. Let's see. Does Freeform include the Cube Builder add-in that is an OEC? No, it does not. So what is really important to understand about Planning Cloud, which does include Freeform, is that it is planning. It is not Essbase focused. So you will no longer have access to EAS. You won't have access to load rules or report scripts, an Essbase Smart View connection. It is the planning code tier. So think of it as Planning Cloud, but without all the restrictions that you used to have in planning, meaning you don't need the 7 to 8, required dimensions. You can build what you want. And there are different ways, by the way, that you can build in there. You can use an Essbase outline to start with and build your freeform cube. You can also migrate, Essbase to freeform, and you can also build out things manually. So there are quite a few options as it's come a little ways since it first got released. Can you expand on the change to unlimited pods? I knew someone was going to ask about this. This is the first time hearing this since we purchased Enterprise November 2020. Concern would be hampered by this. So yes, here's what I will tell you, because I'm an Oracle ACE director and I'm an advocate for customers. It's important that you guys understand these changes that are sometimes subtle and not necessarily announced to the world. So when Oracle EPM Cloud came out, the sales messaging for the enterprise tier was that it was unlimited pods. And I recall that very clearly. I'm sure that you do too. And since that has come out, since 2019 is when that came out, so it's been almost 2 years, they have realized that they can't necessarily do unlimited pods for everybody. It was kind of one of those early adopter perks. And so they are now going to start limiting the pods. Now, as far as how they're going to do that limitation, that is really a question between you and your Oracle salesperson. What I would say is if you are on Enterprise EPM Cloud today, take a look at what you have. Take stock and inventory of what you have implemented. Do you have a plan to expand? Hopefully you do. And what does that include? And how many pods do you need? And then have a conversation with your salesperson. Usually this involves a justification. And just by the way, I really haven't seen tons of pushback in this area. Where I see pushback is when a customer asks for 15 to 20 pods up front. That's where Oracle's like, hang on a second, we need to understand why is it that you need these pods. Where that usually comes into play is when you're moving Essbase cubes to freeform planning. That is usually the biggest situation I've seen where Oracle's like, wait, hang on a second, because you're going to need more pods. We didn't talk about this, but when you're in the freeform planning world today, this is not the way it's always going to be. It is 1 cube per pod, but that is going to change very soon, hopefully in the summer, to where there'll be 6 cubes per pod. And then that whole situation kind of goes away. But until then, it's a problem for people who might be looking to move all of their Essbase cubes to freeform planning. So just note that this should be on your radar. If you're worried about it, I don't necessarily believe that this is, a high risk area. What I think it is just a situation where you need to take stock of what you have, figure out where you're going, and then talk to your Oracle sales rep if you believe you need additional pods. I would have that conversation sooner rather than later. Smart View is available for Excel, PowerPoint, Outlook. What would you use it for in Outlook? So in Outlook, to be perfectly honest, I haven't used this integration in a very long time. The way that it used to integrate with Outlook is with task lists. It used to integrate those into your tasks in Outlook. I personally don't even know how well this works anymore because I think I had one customer ever that ever used this integration. But just know that that's how it used to be used in the past. And like I said, I haven't tested this recently. I don't know if that's how it works today, but that was how the legacy version integration used to work. Is ARCS a tool that can be used for tie-ins between FCC and EPBCS cubes? So I'll be honest, ARCS is not really my technology skill set, but from my understanding of it being an account reconciliation tool, I think that there might be a way that you can program it to look at EPM Cloud data sources. I could be wrong on that, but I believe the most used use case is really for, systems outside of Oracle to reconcile between, like, let's say Oracle and like your ERP and something else. So it's one of those things where I'm not entirely sure, but if you send us the same question through info@interrel.com, I will get an answer for you and get back to you on that. Okay. What is Dashboard 2.0? Okay. So believe it or not, I actually have a presentation at Kscope 21 with my buddy Wayne Van Sluis, who's also an Oracle ACE director. And we're going to do a showdown between the data visualization tool in Oracle Analytics and the EPM Cloud dashboarding tools in EPM Cloud. So we didn't really talk about this, but in EPM Cloud, with some of the application focused products like planning and FCC and tax reporting, there are dashboard capabilities. And those dashboard capabilities and planning, by the way, support all of the different types of planning application types. So modules, custom, and freeform. And these dashboards are very different from data visualization. It's not really meant to be, like a self-service, you kind of create your own thing on the fly. What it's meant to be is a way to consolidate your data in planning and kind of take a look at it at an aggregated level without having to leave the tool. So think of it that way. Now, there are two versions of dashboards within EPM Cloud. There's Dashboard 1.0 and there's Dashboard 2.0. Dashboard 1.0 was the original release of dashboards. And if you ever have used a module in EPM Cloud Planning, you'll know what we're talking about because a lot of those pre-built interfaces are actually dashboards where they put a whole bunch of forms and charts onto a single interface. And then you go and input your data for those planning modules based on that. And then once you input your data into the grid section, you can see the direct impact, in the chart section. So that was Dashboard 1.0. And all the modules today are in Dashboard 1.0. Last year, they released, I think it was last year, they released Dashboard 2.0, which is the next iteration of dashboarding. But it does not have full parity with Dashboard 1.0. But what it does have is a whole host of new capabilities and data visualizations in it that Dashboard 1.0 does not support. So, for instance, one of the big things that was talked about was geography maps, right? So, I want to take a picture of the United States and I want to show sales with bubbles all over the United States based on my data in EPM, cloud, like planning. So how do I do that? So that is not something that is supported in Dashboard 1.0, but it is supported in Dashboard 2.0. And there's other types of visualizations that are more modern that are supported in Dashboard 2.0, like Spark charts, like you see in Excel, even certain gauge charts, waterfall charts, things like that. So it's the next iteration of Dashboard, but big but, it doesn't have full parity with Dashboard 1.0. So just keep it in mind that if you want to ever use dashboards in EPM Cloud, there's two versions. You need to use them at your own risk. They have different pros and cons to each. For custom dashboards, I would lean towards using Dashboards 2.0, but for the modules, they come with Dashboards 1.0, just FYI. Has your firm assisted in the implementation of sales planning, which is a very different thing. So I don't believe we have. I may not be the proper person to answer that question because I'm not on the sales team. I believe we've been given a couple of requests, but for those of you who don't know what we're talking about, so sales planning is actually one of the deviations of Planning Cloud. So Planning Cloud has the 5 modules that I mentioned. They also had something called Strategic Workforce, which is now being deprecated, by the way. And they also have something called Sales Planning. But Sales Planning is actually part of a different Oracle product, and it integrates with Planning Cloud in this thing called Sales Planning. I do not believe that we've assisted in any of that, but if you send that question to info@interrel.com, we'd be happy to get back to you on that. Okay, we have 10 minutes. Any other questions? And if you have any questions after this webcast, again, send an email to info@nrl.com. They'll route it. You can just say that you need to send it to Opal or, whoever knows the answer, and they can route it to me and we can get you an answer. Okay, I'll leave it open for about 30 more seconds for questions. All right, it looks like we have no more questions, so I'm going to give you back 9 minutes of your day. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope we see you on a future webcast.